Raider Nation, this is getting real. Something real strange is moving behind the scenes in Las Vegas, and some people are trying to keep it all under wraps. While our defense is trying to find its identity and the future of the franchise divides opinions, an old familiar face from somewhere else decided to steal the show and mess with our fan base's past. Is the coaching staff taking the right path, or are we going to pay the price down the road? So go ahead and drop a like and stay until the end, because this could change everything. The Raiders are in Houston, the preseason vibe got intense with the joint practice, and all of a sudden, this news drops that the Texans are resting a bunch of their starters for Thursday's game. Hold on, that wasn't the original plan. According to reports, the initial idea was different, but the game changed. And what does that mean for us? Klint Kubiak, our new commander, was very clear. He wanted to see Fernando Mendoza, our rookie, going toe-to-toe with the league's elite. Mendoza got his reps against the Texans' starting defense in practice, and, from what reached us, the HC liked what he saw. But is that enough? We know how things go in the NFL. Practice is one thing, an official game, even a preseason one, is a whole different story. If the Texans are pulling their starters, we lose a real measuring stick. Is this a smart move by Kubiak to preserve the roster, or is it a missed opportunity to test our actual capacity against a team that, let's not forget, has one of the best defenses in the league? There's speculation about the actual playing condition of CJ Stroud and other big names for the Texans. If they don't step on the field, our test loses its weight. And right there, we're left not knowing if Mendoza is actually ready for what's coming next. Nothing confirmed yet on who's in and who's out on our side, but Kubiak dropped that classic "let's see" when he got pressured. And that doesn't give me much confidence. The total focus seems to be keeping Kirk Cousins warmed up for Week 1 against the Dolphins. Ian Rappaport already called it. The hierarchy hasn't changed. The plan is Cousins. Mendoza is right there, carving out his space, but the fan base is split. On one side, the excitement for the future. On the other, the distrust that the process might be moving way too slow. If Mendoza doesn't get quality minutes against elite defenses right now, when is he ever going to be ready? Time is ticking. The regular season is fast approaching on September 13th, and we need to know if our future is actually in good hands. And that's not even the most worrying part, but hold on tight, because what comes next changes everything. The defense that was supposed to be the big terror of the league is sending chills down our own fan base's spine, and not for the right reasons. We spent big in free agency, brought in heavy names for the linebacker core, drafted valuable pieces, and locked down the monster Max Crosby. On paper, a literal wall. But the reality on the field in the preseason is showing a different face. The game against the Cardinals was subpar, and the recent matchup against the Texans in joint practices left that lingering doubt about the run defense. And who is to blame for this instability that's scaring everyone? The spotlight right now falls on our new defensive coordinator, Rob Leonard. He was promoted straight from the defensive line, which means he's never called an entire defense in his career. According to reports, his inexperience in play calling is costing us right away. There's speculation that the team might suffer through an adjustment period that's way too painful for a franchise with no time to waste. Was betting on an internal guy with no play caller background a total misfire, or a genius long-term vision? Nothing confirmed yet, but the growing pains are already showing up, and the fan base is divided. To calm things down, heavy voices like former player AQ Shipley came out to defend Leonard, calling the guy a dog and highlighting his grit and his time in major defensive schools alongside names like Mike McDonald. And on the field, linebacker Nakobe Dean guarantees that the unit is evolving day after day, adjusting the pieces to stuff the run game and find their lost identity. But the harsh truth is that the defensive line could be getting a silent but physical piece that changes everything. For Matt, Adam Butler is getting older, Tonka Hemingway is raw, Malcolm Kuntz only had one breakout year, and Kwity Paye was never exactly a premier pass rusher. Is this a natural transition for an elite defense, or are we shielding a coordinator who isn't ready for the size of this responsibility? The pressure is massive, the fan base has zero patience for failed experiments, and the regular season is right there knocking on the door. And hold your breath, because the last topic is going to stir up the feelings of a lot of people right here. To wrap up this package of news, shaking up our team's world, we need to look at what's happening outside the NFL, but touching right on the heart of our fan base. His name is Derek Carr. Yeah, our eternal number 4, the franchise's all-time leader in passing yards and touchdown passes, decided to take a turn in his career and accepted a role as a special advisor on the coaching staff at UCLA, way out in Westwood, working directly under head coach Bob Chesney. Carr's arrival shook up the college environment and generated immediate buzz among young athletes, like wide receiver Leland Smith, who didn't hide his excitement about being able to learn from someone who spent over a decade in the elite of American football. Smith pointed out that the former Raiders quarterback's open-door approach is an absolute game-changer, and that his presence in the locker room brings incalculable background, especially when it comes to absorbing the mindset of someone who's already been on the biggest stages in the sport. But what grabbed our fanbase's attention the most in this whole story is the inevitable connection to Las Vegas's recent past. Leland Smith already stated he can't wait to hear the stories and absorb Carr's advice about the period when he shared the field with none other than Davante Adams. We know the Carr and Adams partnership with the Raiders was short-lived, lasting only through the 2022 season before the quarterback left for the Saints, but the friendship and chemistry between the two have always been a hot topic behind the scenes. Seeing Carr take on this mentor role at UCLA, it messes with our emotional memory. Is this the definitive end of any rumors about him returning to the gridiron as a player, or is it the first step of a successful coaching career on the sidelines? Is this a sign that our old captain found his true home in football, or does the fan base still feel that lingering ache for when he was running our offense on the field? It is time to wrap up our daily breakdown and put things straight about everything going on with our franchise, because the current picture demands close attention from every single one of us who breathes this team day and night. We walked through 3 crucial fronts shaping the current moment in Las Vegas, and each one brings a mix of hope, doubt, and plenty of fuel to burn in our community debates. First, we took a close look at that wild preparation in Houston. The joint practice brought interesting answers, but the Texans' decision to rest starters on Thursday completely shifts the landscape of the test our coach Klint Kubiak mapped out for rookie Fernando Mendoza. We wanted to see the kid catch fire against the league's elite defense under real game conditions, but if the hosts decide to bench their main pieces, our measuring stick fails. And that forces us to question, just how much is this preseason actually preparing our future, or are we just cruising in warm waters while the clock ticks down to week 1? Meanwhile, the hierarchy under center feels untouchable. Ian Rappaport already called it. The plan to kick off the season with veteran Kirk Cousins stays rock solid no matter what. The fanbase is split between the prudence of leaning on experience and the itch to see fresh blood running through the team's veins with Mendoza. Is Kubiak playing it smart by shielding the rookie, or are we missing the precious timing of giving snaps to the guy who could change the face of the franchise sooner rather than later? And to make our puzzle even heavier, the defense, a unit that was supposed to be our safe harbor after heavy investments and locking down the monster Max Crosby, became a source of chills in the preseason. The inexperience of new defensive coordinator Rob Leonard is right there on the table. Watching a guy with no prior background as a main play caller take the steering wheel of such an expensive and heavily scrutinized unit brings obvious insecurity. Growing pains are expected, just like linebacker Nakobe Dean tries to reason behind the scenes, but the Las Vegas Raider fanbase has zero patience for long rebuilding years. The defensive line outside of Crosby still raises massive question marks, and the run defense needs to answer right away before the regular season turns into a nightmare inside our own division. Finally, the emotional twist with our eternal number 4, Derek Carr, taking a coaching gig at UCLA and dragging up memories of his partnership with Davante Adams, hits right at the core of our fanbase's heart. Seeing an idol finding a new path as a mentor for young talent makes us reflect on closing chapters and the heavy weight our franchise's recent history carries. Every single one of these pieces connects at a crucial moment. We have a team in transition, a coaching staff testing limits, a rookie waiting in the shadows, a defense that needs to prove its true worth, and the constant shadow of our recent past calling the shots in our debates. The picture is not simple. The challenges are massive, and the margin for error in our conference simply does not exist. Now the mic is yours, Raider. I want to read your take in the comments and see the debate go wild. Facing everything sitting on the table right now, is Klint Kubiak making the right calls to save our year, or are we marching straight into avoidable stumbles? Drop a like to support the channel, share this video with a fellow Raider who never misses a snap, and subscribe so you do not miss a single detail of our daily coverage. Raider Nation, until next time.